start off by saying no, I am in sound mind body. Corona has not affected me. I am not going insane for being quarantined within my apartment. Not that I'm quarantined anyway, but anyways. So I posted that image last night as a preview to show what this whole TED Talk is about. And just as a bit of context going in, because I forgot and then remembered the context, and then willfully decided I wasn't going to explain the context on Twitter anyways. So the context is that last night I was discussing with a friend the topic of time travel and what I would do with that power. And I'm not a fan of time travel. I think it's a cop-out for almost anything. I do realize it's cool to see how writers and stuff use it, but I'm not a fan of it. You could just create so many problems with it. And I was asked what how I would go about, would I use it for any nefarious purpose, or would I use it, what would I do if I had the power to time travel? And I was betted that I would probably use it to fuck things up. And I said to myself, and to my friend, I said, I wouldn't do that. I'm a history buff. I would just go back and watch history. And then the voice inside my head said, no, you wouldn't do that. You would absolutely make things 10 times worse. And I said, you know what, inner voice? You're absolutely right. If I had the ability to fuck anything up in history and make it worse, I would do it if I could get away with it. And so the discussion went on, and then I realized, assuming that, relativity and all that stuff, and how you debate what would happen if you changed the past and what happens in the future, if I made something worse, or if I changed anything, then the butterfly effect would ensure that if I went back to the future, that original timeline I have jumped from wouldn't exist. And so there's no point of ruining my present and future just to watch the past burn a little bit more. And so I said, what if I could come up with a scenario that I could start at one point in time, change the past, and forge a system as I'm jumping through the past, like some sort of fail-safe mechanism to get what I want, and then systematically undo everything by getting what I want, so that when I jump back to the present, nothing has actually changed, even though it has. So the only reasonable method of explaining this that I can think of is let's just take Chernobyl. So we're gonna jump back to the wonderful time. Let me get a good color, nice dark black here. We're going to start at April 26th, 1986. Here we are. It's, 1 a.m. We're setting up for the disaster. Here is our wonderful flow of time. That is the straightest line I've ever done in Clip Studio Paint, and it's on recording. So here we are. We're gonna set present day, theoretical present here. So we're gonna, make a little dot. We're gonna write present. That's present. I assure you that's what that says. Alright, so we're in the present. I have some sort of device that allows me to travel back in time. This is not some sort of little capsule or machine I step into and the whole machine itself goes with me back in time. No, for the sake of ease, we are assuming that this is some sort of device that requires me to jump back in time, no strings attached. It just takes me, I'm there, I can signal whenever and go right back to whatever point in time that I want to. Not specifically present, but I can jump with it. It just allows me to jump around. So, that being said, I want to go back and I want to witness Chernobyl. And you know what? That's fine. But as I said, I don't want to just witness Chernobyl. I want to make it worse. I don't want to actually make it worse, but theory, I want to make it worse. How do I make it worse? So we're going to jump back in time. Take this here. We're going to take this down. This is that date here. We're going to use a square to represent that. So here is 26 is April 26th. I hope it's not the 28th. Whatever. It's that day. Let me make sure. Hold on. Wikipedia. How did I forget this date? This is why I should have recorded earlier when I was really ecstatic that I came up with this instead of teaching material later. How do professors do this then? How do they repeat the same stuff with the same vigor and energy? That is commendable. It was, yeah, 26. Okay, I was right. So it was April 26. Alright, so here we are. Here's April 26. Here I am. I, myself, want to go to the past to witness this. So we're going to start with the tip of the color wheel and move around because it's going to get pretty funky real quick. So, this is me going back to the past. This is jump 1. Or perhaps I should say loop 1 because it's going to get crazy. So, I have jumped back in time to about 1 a.m. April 26, 1986. No big deal. So, I want to rig a reactor in the same way, the same manner that reactor 4 has exploded. Problem is that I have to get inside of the power plant. So, that was the first obstacle I had, and so I just came up with the assumption. I have jumped straight into the control room, and that poses another issue. I have now jumped into a decently small, medium-ish room with probably about 6 to maybe 15 people in it. I don't know. It's usually that's about how many people you have in one of those rooms doing things. And an American has just popped into a Soviet room. There's probably one way in and one way out. And somebody's probably going to tackle me right then and there, and it's just going to be completely, you know, it's game over for me. I'm dead. I'm captured. I'm sent to the gulag. I'm an American spy. It's over with. So the next assumption is that upon my sudden, you know, entry, I have either a weapon and I subdue them all, or they just vanish too. I don't know. We're just gonna pretend they're not an issue. I've come in. I have just smacked them so hard on the back of the head real fast, and they're all subdued. So, I now have free reign of that control room. So I, being me, in my knowledge of an introduction to nuclear engineering textbook and a whole bunch of reports and stuff from the IAEA, say I can repeat this incident with, you know, relative ease, following what we know from what was done in that control room that night. I will just take the itinerary and repeat it myself, and, you know, let's just say that I've streamlined it a bit, so we're not taking about 20 minutes. We can do this in about 10 to 15 minutes. Go from a perfectly fine reactor to, you know, the exploded popcorn bag times 5 trillion. So I have rigged reactor 1 to explode. The problem is I can't sit around to watch my handiwork come to fruition because I'm gonna get completely killed. Well, maybe not killed, but, you know, severely injured and exposed to radiation, and that's just not a fun time, folks. Let me just assure you that that's not a fun time to get a lethal dose of radiation. So, I have rigged the reactor, and now I will jump back to the present, except we're not gonna go straight back to the present. We're gonna go back just before. Here we are. We are now closing loop 1. I am now just before I have made my first jump. I don't want to go past the present into the future. That's confusing. I told you this is going to be confusing fast. I don't want to go past present into the future, because if I do that, the future is inevitably different. That is not my timeline, and I have to do a lot more work to get it back to the current present, or the right present. So, that being said, and I like I said, I want to make this worse, so I have to also go back and keep doing this over and over until all 4 reactors have exploded. So I will once again, remember, I am just before original present, I will now, once again, use my time travel powers to jump back. We're gonna go back to the same moment in time that I've originally jumped to, except now I'm in Reactor Hall 2. And I will once again rig it to explode and get the hell out of here. And so I have gone, once again, now just slightly before the first jump, or technically the second jump, and now I'm here. I have 2 reactors rigged to explode at roughly the same time. And we'll touch more about the timing of this all. There's an issue that appears with that too. And we'll get to that once we're done. So now I've done 2 reactors. I will now, again, two instances slightly before original present. I will now, once again, make another jump to the same moment in time. And I realize I probably should have done the first loop a little bit higher, but it's fine. It's all fine. And now I've gone back. I have rigged 3 reactors. We are now going to loop back in time again, just slightly before each jump. And here we are, 3 reactors. Now the interesting thing here is I could, in theory, skip to the next step. Or the final, or the final A step. We'll just call it final A. I could skip to final A, and everything will be fine. But I being me with my history fucking up powers now, I want to take Reactor 4's fate in my own hands and rig it myself. Why not? If I've done 3 already, let's go, for a home run and do 4. So I am once again going to jump back in time to the same time, so there are technically now, in theory, 4 me's, not in the same place, well, not in the exact same place, but in the same vicinity at the same time. We are now back here, and now I have rigged Reactor 4 to explode. Now I could rig it, and I could, okay, no, I actually can't do that. I was coming up with another scenario in my head, but we're going to pretend I didn't just try doing that. So, I'm going to, instead of confusing us all a little bit more, I'm going to go jump back one more time. Just one more time. Back before all these other jumps. I'm here. It's for, it's just a normal state. I'm not really doing anything with intention. It's just to sort of stabilize out my train of thought and the whole timeline itself. I've just gone back before everything else, just for safe, just for taking precaution. And I will jump back again, perhaps even before, just a teensy bit before, maybe about an hour before, 30 minutes before. I'm just going to jump a little bit before. And now I am spectating. I am sitting in wait, watching for everything to explode. And This is how I solve the whole, going into the future and everything's completely changed because of the butterfly effect. This is how I overcome this solution. I have now, or what I haven't told you all, is that present, original me, back over here, has come up with sort of a logic test, or maybe some sort of metaphysical reality test. I don't know why that just moved. Let's pretend that didn't happen. Similar akin to Einstein's invitation, I believe it was Einstein, where he sent an invitation welcoming time travelers to a party he was hosting, except he wrote the invitation for a time in the past. So that if they arrived then he in the present would have some sort of indication that that event has already happened. This is sort of the same logic I'm using to approach this. So I have started by, when I came up with this idea, and before I made the first jump, I came up with this logic test that if any of this happened, if any number of reactors exploded successfully, I would be sitting in wait before all these reactors were rigged. There would be another me waiting to record it. And I say another me loosely because it's in theory it's still the same me. It's just how time travel and quantum states and all that stuff works. So technically it's still the original me. So I am now lying in wait somewhere outside in Pripyat or around the power plant. I am sitting with a camera because I'm from the future. I have a phone camera. I really need to stop moving that pen around things I don't know what I'm doing with it. Anyways, I'm sitting in late watching. So here I am outside. This is my phone. Here's the camera. We are recording it all happening. And everything happens. They all explode. It's like, you know, the 4th of July, but 5 billion times worse. And there's so much crap that's going to happen because of it. Say goodbye to the Soviet Union even quicker than before. And so I have accomplished my goal of fucking up history. I am satisfied, but I want to go back to the present, into a present that isn't not the present. That, you know, it's not completely screwed over for the future. So, what I will do is phone me who was recording, which is still original me. Don't get lost. I'm trying not to as well. I don't know where my color wheel went. What did I do? Somewhere. Which one of these is the color wheel? Aha, that's not the color wheel, but this will work. So I'm going to take this pinkish color here. That might not show up. We'll take like a red. So I will jump back. But I will jump back in between here. I will jump here. Specifically here. So I can go to present me. And I can show present me, original present me, the footage of it all happening. And you know what? Better yet, I will do present me a solid, and I will email myself or give him a copy or do something to the footage so that we completely ignore the possibility that undoing this all erases that footage. I will do something to ensure that current present me, or we will just all pretend here as we're listening to this, or y'all are listening to this, that present me can see the footage and memorize it and not create some sort of time paradox. So, that assumption, present me now knows what would happen. What would happen if I decided to fuck up this event in history? And present me comes to the ethical, logical conclusion I no longer have to succumb to my morbid curiosity and carry out this plan. I know the truth. And because of that, all of this back here, from here over, no longer happens. We go into a present that is still the same. All events that have happened, that I have done through the time machine, have no longer happened, but I am conscious and cognizant of what I have done. And going forward, it's as if nothing ever happened. Now, I did get asked about, okay, well, what are the odds that, because I have not really seen myself, or not really seen each reactor blow up individually after each jump, I don't know if everything's gone to fruition. I don't know if, let's just say somebody came in after I've done this and said, oh my god, we can't really do this, we could try shutting down the reactors, but that actually probably won't help. But let's just say they come in and or somebody walks in there, realizes what I've done, and none of this happens. Or to get your heads hurting a little bit more, any number of reactors explodes or doesn't explode. So now, at any given point, back to black here. So at any point here, and if I did the factorial right, and I haven't done probability in ages, but I'm assuming the combinations is 4 factorial, which is 24. So at any given point, because of this potential fallacy here, there are 24. I'm right. I could be off by any number amount, but let's just say I'm right, and it's 24. There are 24 possible alternate realities I've created. And because of that, because they have been giving the condition that you are to record something and then return to present self, there are 24 me's that could arrive all at the same time at here. And though, yes, that'd be very alarming to see 24 copies of myself arrive at the same time, actually, it probably wouldn't be too alarming for myself because I would be somewhat aware of what's happened. Might be a bit surprising, but I wouldn't say it's the end of the world. Some people might do that, but I wouldn't. Anyways, you have 24 me's that arrive back just slightly before the present. Now, the wonderful thing is that given the conditions of the little logic, quantum physics test, whatever you want to call it, if they show me the footage, 24, or any one of the 24 me's shows me the footage, then the whole collapsing of the timeline and everything going back to normal happens. Everything's fine. It'd be kind of weird to see 24 me's just also, appear and disappear just like that. But if any 24 show me footage of what I've done, everything still goes according to plan. There's no issue. The fun problem is, for some reason, all 24 me's, so, well, before I start going on with that, let me just say, so if 24 me's, any footage, we go back to red, we go back into the, we go from the present into our normal, regularly scheduled future. Everything's fine. But here's the issue. And we'll go to like a pink for this. Let's not go to pink. Let's go to orange. So here's the issue. What did I do? Please tell me this works. No, that did not work. Okay, let's scroll back. Okay. So here's our dilemma. What if? Again, what if for some reason, the 24 me's all have decided, let's prank present original me and not show the footage? Well, that creates a problem. That means, for one, there are now 24 of me going to the future. They have this footage, but the event, actually, if you think about it and want to get your head to hurt even more from this whole TED Talk, the loop still continues. So there might even be more than 24 me. If this loop is going to keep going on and on and on indefinitely, because I have not closed the loop, then more and more of me are going to arrive at the same point in time, and I don't want to think about that anymore. I don't know what that does with entropy and the whole energy balance of the universe, and I don't know what would happen if you decided to create a whole bunch of something with absolutely nothing. I don't know what that would do. Does reality collapse? I don't know. I switched to environmental studies. I didn't finish nuclear engineering. I don't know what that shit does, but yeah, that's my theory as to what would happen if 24 of me decided to all prank the original, which is still technically the same me. So, anyways, yeah, this is what would happen. This is how you successfully fuck up something in the past and then undo it, going back to the original present in the future, so that you don't end up in another timeline where you don't know God knows what's going to happen. So